Hey everyone, here we have this head unit out of a Hyundai of some description. I honestly don't know. It says Hyundai on the sticker on the top, but other than that, it was thrust upon me and said no audio. The cool part about this is the sticker on the top shows the pinout, so it makes our job easier, but it's usually pretty easy to find the pinouts if you had to. Let's hook it all up and just verify the fault, I suppose, first. No point tearing it apart if it happens to work. So with a couple of wires jimmied in the back, let's power it up and see what happens. It wants some time. Oh yep, I'd expect some radio hissing to come through there. And it's definitely dead. At least there's no mute buttons or anything. There's an equalizer. EQ? No, maybe that doesn't work either. Can we go, actually we'll go band. Where's band? AM. AM doesn't have usually have an auto mute for no signal. FM can. So definitely no sound. Let's tear it open. That was interesting. I killed the power to it and the speaker crackled. I'm just going to do that again. Power it on. Cool. Now, what if I turn it off with the button? No. Okay, so I'll just kill the power supply itself and you get a crackle. So maybe the amplifier stage is working. It's a good sign, I suppose. Now, why is it that when I disconnect everything I have a second thought? This feels familiar. I had one where the radio had no sound. I think it was Hyundai, I can't remember. But if it is just no radio, we need to just look at that. So I'm just going to hook it all back up and we'll see if it's no radio. It might be that the CD makes sound, because if it's no radio I know exactly what it is, but we shall see. Let's pop in the old base mechanics, see how that goes. Well, at least the CD works. No audio from the CD either. With all of the screws out around the sides, the front plate should just pop off. Can we actually maybe just get this top cover off? It'll always be a bit fun figuring out how to get into these. Get that off. Now we've got CD mech, so we can get that out the way. Sometimes there's hidden screws inside. How much of a lead have we got to lift that out on? It's going to be attached to the front, isn't it? So we're going to have to get that front panel off. Okay, jump the gun. We just keep pushing at this until it falls off, I suppose. There'll be some sort of plug holding it on, perhaps. Clips on the side as well, where the screw goes through. That little wing where the screw goes through, there's a clip behind that as well. You have to lift it up over. Okay, so we have a ribbon cable in between. At least it's a nice long one, so we should be able to work on this thing in pieces. We'll just get rid of it for now. And then, of course, there's a couple of screws that are holding the CD mech in. Now it'll come out. There'll be a ribbon cable under that, of course. We'll release it from the CD end, I guess. It's nice and up and easy to get to, instead of reaching down in there. Our amplifier chip is bolted to the heatsink, like most of them are. A couple of screws on the back. We'll take these screws off, and the main board should come out with this attached. There's a couple on the side for voltage regulator. We've got our tuner module. That was the problem in the last one, if I was remembering correctly, and not much else going on in there really, so we'll keep pulling it apart. All 4 screws out of the back and 3 on the side for the heatsink. This thing should just fall out, but it's not exactly falling out. Sorry, there was a screw on the motherboard as well, a couple of screws in each corner. Maybe we lift it this way. Oh no, I'm missing there's a little tab, you got to bend it, which locks the board down onto the base. That's pretty common construction style in these, in all head units. Good thing it's good malleable steel, you can bend it back and forwards a couple of times and get away with it. The prize. I suppose we'll do the obvious, check for dry joints on the amp chip. After that, I suppose we'll have to do a bit of signal tracing. Fun. Figure out where it's going and where it's stopping. But at least we've got this, so this is nice. We can hang the front off that instead of having to plug the front in, because when they plug in, it just makes it a bit, you know, hard to move around and work on, and they always want to fall off. No bad joints on the connector for the inputs. Looks okay. Those 4 big ones there are the speaker terminals, front and rear. They go over to our amplifier, which actually looks pretty good. Really see anything to complain about with those. Kind of looks like it's cracked around it. That's ground, possibly even that one. That could look a bit broken too. They all kind of look a bit broken along that back side. Let's resolder all of those. Yeah, it's funny how they looked alright from a distance. Not your usual standard dry joint. Yeah, even a couple on the top. Okay, we will resolder those, and I think it's usually, if it's not the amp and the system chip itself has gone funny and is not spitting out any audio, because I don't know, maybe it has some digital signal processing that has gotten all mixed up. No bridges. Gingerly hooked up again. Let's power on. Still no sound. Boo. Well, now we need to follow the audio signal and find out where it's not getting to. So here's looking at the top of the board and right in front of the amplifier itself, and I'm picking that these are going to be our signal inputs. So we have these caps down here, which I'm guessing are going to be left and right. Although you'd expect to see like front and rear, left and right. Maybe there's some more on the underside of the board. However, we have 4 capacitors where the signal path is in series with them, so they're going to be like series pass for DC blocking, as you normally see on audio lines. They come down here through these resistors and then straight into that IC there. So that's going to be our main audio processing chip. If it may do other stuff, I don't know. but that comes out of those and up into the amp itself. So we need to see if there's any signals at all on those lines. Doesn't matter if it's front or rear, we just need to find signals to start with. Picking up a bit of junk in the 100 millivolts per division section, but anyway, let's probe on the end of that one there. That looks like it's off scale. What do we got there? Definitely a DC offset on there. So if we come up to these ones up here, really, we've got DC offset on those too? That's interesting. Maybe that's not our signal path. But we don't have anything that looks like a signal on there anyway. If we go to AC coupling, what's that going to show us? Then turn up the... Nah, nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing on any of those using AC coupling. So that's interesting. I wonder if we have any signal coming out of the tuner module. Let me just reposition stuff. All looks the same to me so far. There's some stuff on there that looks digital. Very, very digital. More digital. Oh, that looks like audio. Possibly. Possibly not. Let me pause the capture for a second so I can actually see real time. No, it's not audio. Just nip down the rest of the pins. If I find something, I will show you. So the data sheet for this thing, which is a TB2931HQ, the amplifier chip says pin 22 is mute. So let's have a look and see. If it is a low signal or 0 volts, then the chip is being held in a mute state. There's a solder pad right there, and what does it say? 5 volts. Okay, so the chip is not in a mute state. Well, it's not really 5 volts, it's more like 3.8. Well, that's interesting. I'm sure the data sheet said 5 or 0. Let me just double check if there's any range allowed for. And looking at this, the data sheet does allow for anything above 2.2 volts is a non-mute state. So this chip is not in mute. Looking at this, there is 4 signals, in 1, in 2, in 3, and in 4. Front, left, and right, rear, left, and right. And they are all referenced to ground, so we only need those 4 capacitors we looked at initially. They should have our signals on them, and they don't. So we need to look back towards that IC, I guess, and make sure that IC is doing what it should. Okay, so the chip the audio comes from is a DSP. It's a NXP branded SAF7746HW/100. And of course the data sheet is not available, so the closest I could find is the SAF7741, which is still a dual IF car radio and audio DSP. So the pinouts are likely going to be different, but we can maybe see if it is or not. If we look at what's happening here, it looks like the crystal goes in at pin 1, 1, 2, 3, maybe 2 and 3, just with the naked eye. And on the screen here we have up the top oscillator, yeah, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So far so good. What's that? Analog in, right, left, analog in, 0, 1, 1, 2. Yeah, all right. So there's a whole bunch going on there. We can see if they go in the same pins, possibly. What else we got? IF ADQ IF address. It appears to be digital communication with the tuner, but I thought there was analog out from the tuner. We can check for voltage here. We've got VSS, VDD. There's a few kicking around the place because there's probably a DAC voltage rail and a chip voltage rail and bits and pieces. They kindly coated the chip with something around the pins, so we're going to have to peel all that off to monitor it. But what I'll do first, I think, is I'll scope the oscillator and just make sure that that oscillator is running and it's not simple as a failed one of those or something. If we look up here, we can see at least they numbered the pins. Oh, that's a nice soft gel coating. I might be able to probe through that. There's they've numbered the pins for us. So what have we got here? There's 27, 28, 29, 30, and they put a little white mark every 5, which helps things as well. So we've got 27, 32, 33, and 26. Oh, yep. 26, 27, 32, and 33. That's our signal lines off in this direction through these caps. There's our oscillator down here coming into the area of pin 1 and so forth. Oh, where was I before the phone rang? Power this thing back on. We are on. Let's probe the oscillator. We are times 10 because a times 1 probe can upset them. And that looks like it is oscillating. So we can space out the time base there and maybe increase the voltage. There we go. Looks more like oscillations. So it's good to see that it is running. If I probe on this voltage rail, it doesn't look very noisy. 3.3. If we probe on this one, 1.8. What else is in the vicinity? That one is 3.3. Doesn't look noisy, so that's good. Chip is running cool. Of course, it's possible that the processor is not setting up the mode for the DSP correctly for some reason. Well, you can't know really what's going on in something like this. You can only sort of point the finger at the obvious, and we all know that DSP chips fail. This is like a 2013 model Hyundai, maybe an iX35 or a Tucson or something. If you do a bit of a Google, seems to have been a problem for the last 5 years, people having this issue with no audio. So I don't know, that means they didn't last long at all, really. So I think I'll try and obtain one of those chips. Don't know how likely it will be genuine or fake, but maybe we take a punt. We'll do it for science, just to see what happens, and I'll try and get one that's, you know, branded as good looking as the original, because I've seen some already that they don't have the NXP logo, so I wouldn't trust them. So we'll give it a shot. Everything else is functioning, it's just no audio, and that is the final stage of audio. I can't find audio input. Maybe it's not running the tuner module properly. Maybe it's just fully digital. There's a lot of lines on that tuner, so I'm not too sure, but we know the amplifier chip seems to be good. Let's get the DSP and cross our fingers. So I just can't shake this hunch that this is the same unit I had once before, and when I think about it, there was no sound from the radio, and I never tested the CD on it. So I fixed the radio by reflowing the tuner module there, and took it for granted that it was fixed. And I'm just thinking, what if the DSP is expecting something particular from this before it activates itself completely, and nothing will work until it's happy that the tuner's happy. So I'm just going to reflow that before I order a DSP, because they are about 50 bucks. So in a quick glance, that's roughly what they are for one that actually has the logo on it. Yeah, we'll do that, and we'll see. Maybe we'll get lucky. Are they coming loose? Well, in the end, that took a lot of heat. Just working the hot air back and forwards until eventually it fell out. Now to get this off, we just need to desolder the four corners, and the PCB will come out of the metal can there. There we go. And what do we have for the big reveal? Oh, nope. Da 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 da. I think the other one I did actually had a BGA chip in it. So I think I'm just gonna hit this with some flux and some hot air, and we'll do a real quick reflow on it. We won't need a lot of heat, I guess, because it's quite a small board. And we'll pop some flux down. They should be sealed. Little inductors there. Get some around the chip. Ooh, let's not melt the plastic. See a solder go shiny everywhere though. Whoa, 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 stay chip. Cool it off a little and hit it with some ISO, get that all that flux washed off there. And of course you want to fold over a clean bit to absorb all of the little bit of residue that's left. I'll manually solder that resistors and little adjustable coil inductance. All right, hopefully that will be all right. And we've got enough length on there. Here we go, off the edge. Make sure we are all looking connected after knocking it around. Looks good. Looks good. Perfect. We'll reattach the can. And I think it went in that way. Can I eyeball it? Can I line it up without line? Almost. Almost. Not quite. Must be a blob on the other side. There's multi-layer nastiness. And with the power of jump cuts, it's already installed. Okay. Surely this isn't gonna... Whoa! No way! No flippin' way! The strangest things, man. That's how these DSPs operate. The strangest things. Alright, I guess we should throw it back together and try a CD. That's just nuts. What the... Alright, let's try that again. Do. Cool. Okay, so anyone want to explain that to me? I must be on track. DSP must see a functioning tuner or nothing will work. It's just going to ruin your day. You're not allowed to listen to any music at all if you can't listen to the radio as well. Thanks, Hyundai. Alright, if you like that video, give it a thumbs up. And I know there's a lot of people out there who have had issues with these. No one's published a fix that I could find within a brief search. But this looks like it going forward. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you all in the next one.